First of all, happy Easter, happy Passover, happy whatever springy celebration you might be celebrating right about now. This class is all about renewal, freedom, opening up our bodies, getting a little bit silly with some fun springtime little baby animal poses and some silly stuff. My background is celebrating Easter, so there'll be some Easter references in here, but I know this is a time when many religions and cultures celebrate different things around this time of year. For Passover, it is freedom of the Israelite people. For those from a more pagan tradition, it is the rebirth of spring, the bringing of light into the world. So whatever you're celebrating, hopefully this touches with you on a bit of a fresh, new start class. So you feel really good and ready to go out, and maybe even if you're here in Portland, enjoy a little bit of sunshine that I am seeing here today. We're going to use, if you have one yoga block or a book. If you don't have one, don't worry, you can still do all of the poses. This will just kind of add a little bit to some of the balances that we're going to do. Of course, you can always have more than one block or anything else that makes your practice comfortable. Go ahead and grab your props, set them aside, and come to child's pose. You can have your knees close together for your child's pose or your legs spread a little bit wider. Your choice, see what feels good. Crawl your fingertips forward. If child's pose is not good for you, in the morning especially, for some of us we're just a little too creaky to be putting so much weight onto our knees, you could always come onto your back instead. Same shape, drawing the knees to the chest. They could be wide or they could be close together. If hugging the knees in isn't possible, you can always take a strap over the thighs, over the shins, or even over the feet here. You just want to be kind of in this little huddle here. Imagine this is your Easter egg, if you will. You are a little ball of potential. So whether you're on your back or on your front, spend a few breaths here. And as you breathe in and out, see, again, what is the potential today? The fun thing about finding potential is that it's not a hard and fast. It's not like, oh, I can do X. That is my potential today. It's more like, oh, I could try to do this. We'll see how it goes. There's the potential that I could stand on one foot today or do that tricky pose that I've been trying to do. The potential is there. It's not so much the outcome. It is the aspiration, the journey that we are looking at. Let's take another deep breath here. And then you are going to crack open your egg. If you are facing forward, you can start by wiggling your forehead side to side, and then maybe shift your hips a little bit, maybe lift a bunch of your fingertips and just start wiggling there. If you're on your back, you can start to kind of expand your arms and your legs, maybe taking them upwards and giving them a little shake. And maybe if you're on your back, you rock a little bit side to side as well. And then you're just going to start to lift, if you're face down, up a little bit. And you're kind of like just slowly and weirdly making your way to a table pose. If you are lying on your back, you just want to keep rocking until you rock over to one side. And then you'll join us over here in the table pose. So as you come into the table pose, keep kind of moving around a little bit. Don't let yourself become static. I'm just taking my hips side to side because that feels nice, but you could be doing anything that feels good here in this pose. Just moving as if you were a just hatched little baby bird. You're just exploring what's around here, what's around my shell, what feels good. Maybe I stretch my wings a little bit. Maybe I uncurl my toes. Spend a few breaths here, just exploring how your body feels today. Allow it to be whatever is kind of new today. Our bodies are constantly changing, constantly experiencing different hardships. And every day when we step on the mat, it's a little bit different. It's never quite the same. Sometimes you have lots of energy. Sometimes a face plant seems about in order. However you feel, it's totally okay. All right. From here, what you're going to do is tuck your toes under. Push back the arches of the feet. We're going to come straight to downward facing dog today. And again, just move around a little bit. So no static, no holding. Even if the movement is really tiny, like just nodding and shaking your head, or just moving your feet, keep something happening. Keep exploring. You can also make really big movements, pulling back and forward, plank to dog, or lifting and lowering the legs. It's totally up to you. When you're ready, you're going to walk your feet towards the front of the mat. I'm going kind of this weird stair step where I'm stepping one foot all the way across to the outside of the mat and then taking the other one all the way across to the outside of the other mat, just for fun. You can step forward more normally if you want. Coming all the way up. Spread your toes wide, bend your knees, fold forward. Feel free to let your arms hang heavy or to let your hands rest on props or anywhere on your legs that feels good. Again, a little bit of movement. Again, that potential is there. Whatever it might hold for you today. There's this little embryo of energy. All right. When you're ready, you're very slowly going to peel into a half lift. So on your inhale, you'll bring your hands up your shins or even up to your thighs as you reach the crown of your head forward. Maybe your legs are straight, maybe not. Exhale and soften back forward. Now soften your tailbone as you inhale, peel your belly away from your thighs, heavy arms as you roll one vertebrae at a time all the way up. When you reach standing, roll your shoulders back, turn your palms forward, take a deep breath in and out. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms out. Make sure your feet are wide enough apart that as you do this next part of leaning over to one side, you can soften your knees a little bit and feel really stable. Maybe looking up under your top arm. It does not matter which way you go. Inhale back to the center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to the center. And you're going to go once more to each side. Go at your own pace. We're going to do this side thing one more time. I'm just going to turn so you can see me. But as you go over to the side, lift the opposite foot up so you're balancing. And then come back. And then go over to the other side. And it might be quite wobbly. This is quite early to be doing some balancing. Come back to the center. That's okay. Feel the energy that brings. Separate your hands and fold forward. Inhale, half lift. If you're not at the front of your mat, just walk yourself up there. And then step your left foot back. Bring your left knee to the floor. Feel free to cushion it as needed. And then pressing down into your right heel, roll yourself up into a low lunge, maybe even lifting your arms to the sky. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Pull your shoulders back as you take a deep breath. Inhale here. As you exhale, bend your elbows down and back. Open your shoulder blades. As you inhale, let your arms sweep forward and up. As you exhale, pull your elbows down and back. One more like that. Inhale, open your elbow, or open your arms up. Your elbows aren't really that involved here. And then as you exhale, fold forward, plant your hands down, tuck your back toe, lift your back knee. You can start to rock your hips back. You're stepping back to downward facing dog. If you prefer, you can always take this down to a table. Move for a few seconds here. And then as you inhale, slide yourself on forward to plank, shoulders over the wrists. If you're ready, you can do knees up, or you can do knees down. Exhale, tuck your elbows in, come all the way to the floor. Inhale, lift the center of your chest, just a baby cobra. Slide your shoulders back like we were doing with kind of the elbows down in the mat, and maybe you can even lift your hands and mimic that shape here on the mat, feeling all of the muscles of your upper back working. Exhale to release hands under the shoulders, press back to your child's pose. Feel free to take your knees wider if you like. Forehead down. If child's pose doesn't work for you, again, you can feel free to flip over, or for this one, you can just stay lying on your belly and then meet us in a moment. We'll all meet in downward dog. On your inhale, you're going to come forward. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Float your right foot to the sky. Step your right foot to the front of the mat. Soften your left knee. Look forward and spring up. Left foot next to right. Inhaling to half lift. Exhaling to fold. Inhale, roll yourself up to the sky. Feel free to sweep your arms out and up, or to keep them heavy. Exhale the hands down by the sides. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, fold deeply forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. As you exhale, step your right foot back. Bring your right knee to the mat. You're coming to that low lunge, so you want to press into your left heel and then lift yourself up. Maybe even extending your arms up to the sky here. Squeeze your inner thighs together so that your low belly feels firm and strong here. You feel really supported in your lower back. And then take a deep breath. Shoulders moving back. Inhale again here. As you exhale, draw the elbows down back. Feel free to come into a little more of a back bend if that feels good. We'll repeat that twice more. Inhaling to lift up. Exhaling, shoulders down and back. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to lift the arms up. Straightening the elbows, which is what I should have said on the other side. Exhale to fold forward, plant the hands, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, shift the hips back so that you can move kind of as smoothly as possible back to your downward facing dog for a few breaths. Kind of just lingering here, doing anything that feels good. Opening stuff up, so finding some freedom in your body. When you're ready, inhale forward to plank. You could do a full push-up or the knees down, lie down. Exhale all the way to the floor though. Press the tops of the feet down, lift the center of the chest, roll the shoulders back. You could just be on fingertips or you can fully float the hands. Inhale here. We're going to add on, so as you exhale, come down, just let your fingertips rest ever so gently on the mat. As you inhale, maybe this time you can lift your legs as well as your arms. Again, you can always rest the fingertips. Exhale to release. We're going to do that one more time. Maybe this time you keep taking your elbows down and back and you slide your arms all the way back. Exhale to release. Hands come under the shoulders. Press back. Child's pose. I'm thinking of this as like a little egg, a little Easter egg. And you may find that as we come back to our little egg pose here, that what your perceived potential is changes as we move through this practice. At the beginning, maybe you felt like, oh, my potential is to lie on the floor this morning. And after you move a little bit, you think, oh, well, I could probably do a little more. I think I have a little more energy. Or it might be quite the opposite. You might have started really raring to go, and then as the practice proceeds, you might slow down a little. Whatever happens is good. Whatever happens is meant to be. We're just tuning into what is going on with us today. When you're ready, inhale to come forward, spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes under, find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Stretch your hips up and back. Imagine your lower ribs coming in towards one another here, so you're creating some support for your lower back. And then the left foot floats to the sky. Step the left foot forward. Soften the back knee, spring the right foot forward. Find that forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to roll yourself to the sky. Exhale, hands rest by your sides. Now, spread your toes nice and wide, standing up near the front of your mat, and you're going to bring all your weight to your right foot. Lift your left heel up. Potentially even lift your left knee so that you are floating on one foot. Hug your inner thighs together, again, just like you did in lunge. We're going to work towards a warrior 3 here. So you're going to extend your leg back behind you. It's fine if it has to touch down several times. Hands could be to the heart, hands could be to the floor or to props here as you extend that left leg back far behind you. Inhale deeply here. And then as you exhale, you're going to set that left foot down over to the left a little bit at a 45-degree angle for warrior 1 feet, and then see if you can lift yourself all the way up to standing, lifting your arms to the sky, squaring your hips. Adjust the angle of your feet so they feel good. Breathe deeply in, roll your shoulders back. As you exhale, draw your elbows down and back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, elbows down and back. Feel free to lean into the back bend if it feels good. Last one. The arms are going to come up, and now we're going to go on a little Easter egg hunt. So you inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to reach down, grab your imaginary Easter egg, and lift it back up. Reach down, Easter egg, and lift it back up. So your arms are just coming as far down as you like. We're going to do 3 more. Down, and lifting up. Down, and lifting up. Last one. Down. Lifting up now, begin to straighten your right leg so you're coming towards a pyramid shape in your legs. As you exhale, draw your imaginary Easter egg towards your heart. Oh, it's so wonderful. Hello, beautiful Easter egg. Give it a little hug. And then draw your right hip back as you fold forward over that front thigh. Keep your knee a little bit soft or a lot soft. You can always be placing your hand on a block or 2 here on the inside or framing your front foot. Hands could rest on the leg. If you're quite flexible or quite warm already, your hands might even come to the floor if you like. Right hip moves back, crown of the head moves forward. Enjoy the intense stretch. And now you're going to soften your right knee. You're going to plant your hands down underneath your shoulders, turn your back foot straight forward and back. You're going to shoot your right leg up to the sky for a 3-legged dog. As you inhale, as you exhale, bend your right knee, stack your right hip on top of your left for a scorpion. And then square the hips. Right foot comes to the floor. Feel free to hang out in dog or table, or even go back to your Easter egg, your child's pose, or to join me in this half vinyasa, inhaling to plank. Knees up or down, exhaling to the floor. Cobra or upward dog or sphinx as your back bend, your choice. Exhale, we'll all meet back in the next breath or 2 in our downward facing dog. Take a nice deep full breath there. Enjoy it. Now you could walk your feet forward or step your feet forward or lift your right foot and step it to the front of the mat. Or if you feel frisky today, you feel like a little hoppy bunny, you might try a few little hops to the front of the mat. Bend your knees, look forward, spread your fingers wide. Maybe 1, 2, 3 little hops to the front of the mat. Inhale and find half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll yourself up to the sky. Exhale, float your hands down by your sides. If you know you want some props for that warrior 3, you could put your blocks in front of you or anything else that helps you balance. Bring your weight to your left foot. Lift your right heel, maybe even lifting your right knee. See what works for you. Hug your inner thighs together. Find this little bit of balance. And then take that right leg behind you. It's fine if it has to make a bunch of pit stops before you get to a little bit of a float. You're just doing your best. You're testing it out. You're seeing what is going to happen today. From here, think about taking the right foot a little bit to the right as you set the right heel down. Warrior 1, pushing into the left heel to lift yourself all the way up. And adjust, especially with a step back. It doesn't always end up perfect. Make sure that your knees and hips are comfortable here as you bring your arms to the sky for a deep breath. Shoulders move back. Inhale again, maybe even looking up. As you exhale, bend your imaginary wings. And Just imagine again you're a bird that's just hatched and you're just stretching these magical new appendages. They're so incredible. Admire them. Admire your beautiful wings as you fold them back. And then lift your arms up. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to reach down for your imaginary Easter egg. Kind of round a little bit here, almost as if you're coming into a cat pose to reach down for that egg. And then lift it back up. So you're keeping your core strong. Forward. And lifting it up. You have 3 more. Go at your own pace, your own range of motion. Maybe your Easter egg is kind of up a little higher and you can reach and grab it. Try things out. You got 1 more. As you are coming up from this last one, you could already be straightening your left leg, coming towards that kind of pyramid-shaped pose, bringing the hands in front of the heart, rolling the shoulders back, hips keep moving back as the torso begins to come forward. Soften your knee just a little bit. It should not be locked here. There should be a little movement available. It might be quite deeply bent depending on the tightness of your hamstrings. Feel free to use a prop or to come to the appropriate level of forward foldiness for your body today. Breathe deeply. Enjoy the intensity, enjoy the work that will bring the release here in just a moment. The hard times, the difficulty that bring the freedom. In this case, it's like really simple. It's just in our bodies, but it's true in life as well. Freedom is not easy. Change is not easy. Being open is not easy. When you're ready, bend into that front knee, plant your hands down, turn your back foot straight forward and back, and kind of almost magnificently shoot your left leg up into the sky as you inhale. And your left knee, stack your left hip on top of the right. If doing this in dog doesn't work, feel free to drop your back knee and take this as a table. That works too. And then square your hips, foot or knee to the floor. Feel free to stay in a pose of rest or to slide through a vinyasa. Any back bend works here. Cobra or Sphinx, up dog, locust again. Exhale to release. We're all going to meet back in the next breath or two in our downward facing dog. Enjoy for a few breaths your dog. Consider what is a potential way to get to the front of the mat. You could hop like the little bunny, or maybe you are a little bit of a bigger bunny and you want to try one giant hop to behind your hands. Maybe you just want to mince your way forward. Little steps. See how it goes. If you do want to do that big hop, what you want to do is bend your knees quite deeply. Bring your hips really high so you're in this kind of weird puppy shape. And then look forward towards your hands. Bring the pit of your belly up and jump forwards. Lift the center of your chest. Inhale. Exhale to fold. Inhale to roll to the sky. Exhale. Bring your hands down by your sides. Take a few deep breaths. Feel hopefully some fresh, new energy, some renewal in your body. And then we're going to grab our block or book if you have one. If not, just proceed as if you were using one. It is not essential. It's just kind of an extra for fun. So what you'll do is you'll put your block on the right side at the front of your mat. And then you're going to stand your right foot on your block. And then here, just let your left toes hang, and I'll show you here. You just want to be standing up and you want your left foot to just be hanging down. And then notice what happens. You want to think about your hips being on the same plane. So you're not standing like this, like a lady who's holding a really heavy purse. You're lifting everything up. Your right hip, your standing hip, and I'm not mirroring you here, so if you think you're doing the opposite, don't worry. We're going to do it on each side. So your standing hip is tucking in. You'll feel a little bit of release here in your outer hip as you do that, and you should feel like your pelvis is evening out. And if you put your hands on your hips, they should be as level as is possible for your body. Maybe you can even float this left foot, or whatever foot it is, and let it swing gently. Now you stay where you are and keep swinging. I'm just going to turn because I want to have room to show you what's next. But you're standing on your block. You're letting your foot swing, 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 swing. You're having a good time. Maybe you're you're wobbling a lot, that is good. Remember that all the wobbles, all those little kind of side to sides, that's fantastic for your muscles. So whether you're rock solid, which just feels really fantastic, or you're wobbling, you're doing good work. The wobbling is training all the muscles, all the ligaments, all the tissues to be stronger. All right, from here, you want to lift your left knee up. It's the same thing we did just standing on the floor a moment ago, but it's way harder now because you might be standing on a prop. And then you're going to extend your foot back behind you. So you're on your right foot and you're extending your left foot. If you're on the other side, you're just going to switch for the next set. Reach out. Warrior 3. Feel free to put another prop in front of you, or I have like a dresser here that I can hold on to. If you want to grab a chair and put it here, you can do that. Because what you're going to do now is see if you can draw that leg back in and come to standing. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. So you'll go back. And this should take 2 or 3 breaths per cycle. You kind of come to that warrior. You find a moment where you maybe feel some balance, and then you come back. And hopefully now your standing leg is starting to feel a little more. You can feel the extra work. If you don't have the block, don't worry. You're just doing 3 warrior 3s forward and back. And then come back in. All right, step the left foot down. Step the right foot off the block. Just stand for a moment. Notice how different you feel. It's kind of insane. Maybe wiggle out the standing leg a little bit. We're going to try that on the other side. And then we have some more little animals to play with. Have a little duckling, some other babies that are going to be kind of funny. Well, I think they're kind of funny. Now put your block underneath your left foot or opposite foot. And you're standing up and you want to again level your hips. If you are just standing on the floor, just practice standing on all 4 corners of your feet here and find the levelness of your hips. For the swinging part, you can be practicing, I didn't mention this on the other side because I got a little distracted, so you could do a couple of moments of swinging the knee side to side to activate if you don't have a block. And I'll let you know when we're about halfway through and you can just switch to the other side so you get equal work. All right, taking a moment here, maybe you start to swing your standing leg a little bit forward and back. If you are standing on the floor and you were swinging one knee side to side, go ahead and you'll switch and you'll just lift the other leg up and then you sway a little side to side. And if you feel super wobbly, whatever variation of the swing you're doing, again, don't worry. Wobbliness is good. And what I've found is when I embrace my wobbliness, it is much easier to be not wobbly because I'm okay with being wobbly. The less okay you are with wobbles, the more they seem to happen. All right, when you're ready, you draw the leg up and you want to keep drawing that standing hip in here so you're really strong. And then you're working towards your warrior 3. You're going to take that right foot or whatever foot it is out behind you. Your hands come to your heart. They can float. They could be resting on the seat of a chair or any kind of prop. And you feel, oh yeah, that's a lot harder. And then you come back in. And then you try it 2 more times. Go at your own pace. If you fall, don't worry. Try again. And it's all good work and good practice. And you may find finding this side is a lot more wobbly than the other side. That's okay. All right. When you're ready, come back. Step off the block. Oh, sweet relief. Stand, shake things out, do whatever you need to do. From here, you can move your prop out to the side. Come back to stand near the front of your mat. Spread your toes really nice and wide. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, stick your bum out behind you as you fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands. Step your right foot back, and then your left foot back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here. Enjoy lifting your hips up and back again, thinking about knitting your lower ribs in towards one another. The knees can be deeply bent here, or you can move towards straight legs if you like. It really doesn't matter if your heels touch the ground or not. They can go in that direction if it feels good, And that applies whether your knees are straight or bent. If you like a little stretch for your Achilles. Achillei? I'm not sure what the plural is that, if it's just Achilles tendons. All right, from here we're gonna slide forward as you're ready to plank, pulling your belly button up and in on an inhale, knees up or down on the exhale, come all the way to the floor. Inhale, you're gonna lift your chest, potentially lift your feet onto your fingertips or even float your hands for that locust pose. Exhale to release, press your hands down, press back to child's pose. Lift your belly up and in, round your spine back. If you need to stay lying on your belly, that's totally fine too. Take a few deep breaths. I'm going to do a little rabbit pose, a little bunny pose. So from here, you're just going to walk your hands in or walk yourself back until you are either seated on your knees or standing on your knees if sitting on your knees doesn't work for you. And this is a bit of an inversion, so we'll be upside down a little bit, so stay just as long as works for your body. Feel free to take a break at any point if you get a little bit of an extra head rush. We're going to bring our arms in front of us and put our forearms on the floor, elbows kind of underneath the shoulders. And then you're going to interlace your hands. As you interlace your hands, bring the bottom pinky on the inside rather than underneath. Hopefully you can see that, so that you're not squishing your pinkies as you do this. Your elbows are about shoulder distance apart. And then what you want to do is think about the crown of your head, so the top of your head. If you're unsure where that is, you can put your thumb between your eyebrows and reach your middle finger back. That point where your middle finger touches is usually right around your crown. And that's the part you can push down there and kind of find some sensation that you want to put on the floor. So it's not your forehead, it's really the very top of your head that goes on the floor. So you're looking back behind yourself. And you press your elbows down and you take your shoulders back. And you're not putting weight on your head here. This is really important if you decide to progress in this pose. You're not just jamming the weight into your head. You're putting the weight in your shoulders and your forearms here. This is what's strong. No more than about 5 to 10% of whatever weight you're putting forward should ever be on your head. Almost nothing. There's just like the lightest kiss to the ground. So as your forehead is kissing the ground, you might just stay right there. And you're like this little tiny bunny. You can tuck your toes under and even kick your little bunny feet. Or you might decide that your bunny is ready to grow. It has been born. It has started to stretch out its little feet. And now what you can do is you can press down into your forearms. Remember, not a lot of weight on your head. In fact, what I recommend doing is making sure that you can press into your forearms, and even maybe you can see if I lift my hand here, lift your head away from the mat so that you know that your arms are strong enough if you want to try this next one. But what you want to do is press into your forearms. Your forehead is just kissing the floor, and you lift your knees. Whew, that's hard work. You can really feel your core. You can stay there for a few moments. And then this is what I think is really fun. Little bunny kicks. You can straighten your left leg a little bit as you kick your right leg up. It doesn't matter how far you come. Make sure, again, you're using your forearms here. Your shoulders should feel fatigued quite quickly. And then you bend your knees. You can always come back for a little break. And then when you're ready, you can try the other side. You lift your knees. Your core is super strong here. You straighten your legs a little bit. You kick your left leg up, bunny kick, and you come back. And if that's enough, you rest, stacking one fist on top of the other. Now your forehead goes on your hands. If you want to try a few more little bunny kicks, please feel free. Just be very mindful of how much weight you're placing on your head as you lift up. Make sure you can lift your head. Your arms are strong enough that your forehead, the crown of your head doesn't actually have to touch the floor. If you want to do another whoop, bunny kick and bunny kick. And if you're thinking about working to headstand or you have it in your practice, you can always stay in that extended kick for a little longer. I'm going to give another moment here if you want to do a few more. When you're done, you'll come down and you'll rest 2 fists underneath your forehead for a few breaths. You should feel quite energetic, as if you were just a bunny hopping across a field. Now, when you're ready, walk yourself back. Again, you could be sitting on your knees or standing on your knees for this next one. Not terribly important. Roll your shoulders back. Take your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Grab a wrist. Grab your elbows. If you have a strap, you can grab that. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale here. Let your hands rest against your lower back. And then slowly on your exhale, start to lift your hands away from your tailbone. It might be just the effort of lifting. You might actually get some space between your back and your arms. It doesn't matter. You just feel the stretch at the front of your arms. You release them. All right. Let go. You're going to take your legs out to one side and in front of you. And come to the back of your mat. So you're sitting in the back of your mat. You are now becoming a duckling, a little duck. And I did not know this until I became a keeper of ducks, but ducks are the most awkward and ridiculous creatures. They fall over, they have big paddly feet, and they run kind of like this. They are inherently ridiculous. So if you feel inherently ridiculous as you do this next one, you're doing it perfectly. We are going to waddle on our bottoms to the front of our mat. This is excellent for your core. So get yourself situated kind of on your sits bones, roll back, and see if you can lift your feet up. You can always hold with your legs for this first little part. Lift the center of your chest. You can take your feet a little wider. Imagine you're a little duck with your wide duck feet, and then you're going to roll to one side, and you're going to waddle, 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 waddle forward. And just go as many times as you can. You might fall over. You might decide, I'm done waddling. If that's the case, that's fine. You're going to meet us up at the top of that. Let's see how far you can go. Try not to let your feet come down. It's ridiculously hard, and you should feel very foolish right about now. And then when you come up to the front of the mat, drop your feet down. Oh, sweet relief. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out to the side. Lift up through the center of your chest, and then exhale, fold a little bit forward. Just take a little bit of relief, maybe sway a little bit from right to left. All right. And then what you're going to do here is rock yourself back up to seated. Gather your knees in. And you're going to come to a squat. And if you have like flexible hips and ankles, you can kind of just bring your feet wide and come right to a squat. For many of us, that is not a reality, or that is not a reality at this time of day. So if you need to stand all the way up and then come to your squat, take a bit of time. You can be doing any squat. You can be doing a horse squat with your feet a little, your feet a little wider, your hips a little higher. Your feet should, in any variation of the squat, be a little wider than your hips, toes out, heels in. You could be a little lower in a spider, or you could be all the way down in this girl lunge squat. Whatever it is, take a few breaths. All right. From your squat, you're going to rest your fingertips down. They could be on the floor, they could be on props, and you're going to lift your hips up. You're going to come to a forward fold, heel toeing your feet in. Flying that fold, and then with the next inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale, you're going to plant your hands down. You're going to walk or step to the back of your mat, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. In fact, if you like, you could take a half vinyasa here, or you could just hang out in a rest pose, whatever feels good for the next few breaths. You can hold any kind of pose that feels good, plank, dog, child's pose. You could keep moving. The next breath or two, we'll all meet back in that downward facing dog. From there, you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet. Inhale, lift up halfway. You can have your hands on blocks here, you can always grab them. Exhale to fold, heel toe your feet back out. We're going to waddle again, but this time we're going to waddle with our feet. And you go to the amount of squat that works for you. And then what you're going to try and do is waddle forward. You're slightly more juvenile duck, maybe you're slightly more elegant. If you're really low, you're going to waddle up. And then once you get to the front, you're going to waddle back. If you're up higher, that's fine. Just stay as low as you can as you waddle twice forward and twice back. And again, maybe you're slightly more elegant than the bum waddle, but not much. You're still a duck. And this is really fantastic for your hip mobility and your hip strength. When you're all the way back at the back of the mat, you put your hands down. Oh, you come all the way back into that forward fold, and you say, oh, thank you for not casting me as a duck in this life. It's a lot of work. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. You're standing at the back of your mat. Exhale, your hands down in front of your heart. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Now you're going to walk your hands back forward to a downward facing dog. Personally, I find this one much more awkward. That's just me. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Adjust your dog again. Stay here for a few breaths. Or add a half vinyasa if you want. Find any pose that feels good. If you're like really frisky and you think, oh, I just want a lot of work today, you could do some push-ups. Notice I just did 2 push-ups and I think I'm done. That's plenty. We'll all meet back in table or in downward facing dog, and we're gonna go for a little, I actually don't know, a cygnet. I think that's what a baby swan is called. We're gonna go for our cygnet pose. Lift your right foot to the sky as you inhale, and then as you exhale, take your right knee behind your right hand. You're gonna slide your left foot back, and we're going to stay elevated. If a forward facing pigeon doesn't work, hold on one sec, I'm gonna show you the flipped over variation in just a moment here. So, you've come into this forward facing pigeon, you've untucked your toes. You want to walk your hands in to frame your right knee as you shrug your shoulders back. Swan, or in our case, little cygnet swan. We're not going for the full variation, which would be lifting our arms up. We're just a little baby swan. And we tuck our kind of pelvic floor up and in, and we squeeze our inner thighs again together. If you need a little support, you can put a block underneath. If you feel really good, you could take your hands behind your back like little wings. Interlace fingers, grab a wrist, whatever works. If this doesn't work for your knees, come over onto your back, or not onto your back, to seated. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee. Your left leg could be straight or drawn in towards you any extent until you feel your outer right hip. Lift the center of your chest, bring your arms behind you, and lift. Little swan. And because this is the swan, imagine that your neck is extra long. You're elongating your spine into that beautiful swan-like curve. Spend another breath or 2. You're elevated in this swan. It is not the pigeon. You're not folding forward. You are majestic. In fact, if you feel a little extra majestic as you squeeze your thighs together, you're welcome to try bringing your arms over your head. It's quite challenging for the hips and the thighs. Take another breath. And then you can fold forward. If you're facing forward, you can just let go. Prop yourself up again on any props that feel good. Sleeping swan. If you are on your, if you are facing forward, I guess, you can just roll onto your back is what I'm trying to say, with your right ankle over the top of your left knee for the relaxed portion. And you find which one works for you, and you take a few breaths. Maybe you're starting to feel your breath slowing down a little bit. If you happen to be lying on your back, as I am, I'll show you how to escape first. You'll just rock yourself to seated, and you can do like your crossed legs, or not. You can always go to the side if you need to, and you just switch sides. Left ankle over the top of the right knee, lift the chest. If you are in that sleeping swan, you'll kind of lift yourself out, wiggle yourself back to table or dog, maybe shake out your right leg, and then come to the other side. Left leg lifts, left knee behind the left hand, sliding the right leg back, and then again, you're propping yourself up. Lift up. Your left butt cheek should not be on the floor here. It should, in fact, be elevated, and that's where a prop comes in handy. You can kind of sit onto that prop, but you should not be collapsed down here. It's not about the forward fold. It's about the lift and the work in the center of your body. You're drawing every single bit of your core in to help you stay elevated. You can take your arms behind you and do the swan. Wherever you are, your neck is getting long. Another thing I sometimes like to do is press my hands into the block in front of me as I elevate. And this should be challenging. This is not easy. You are growing and expanding. You have hatched from your beautiful swan egg. If you feel really quite powerful, you might even lift your arms up over your head. Only do that for a second, that's totally fine. I'm feeling like that's a little intense for this side today. I'm going back to my fingertips. Keep your shoulders moving back. That applies whether you are facing downwards or kind of, I guess always you're facing forwards here in this position, whether you have your leg underneath you or in front of you. Take another breath as this beautiful swan, this beautiful cygnet, and then release. Let go. sleeping swan. From kind of the silly animals to the more elegant. Take another deep breath here. Allow yourself to release. Coming out of this pose. And you're going to make your way back to table or dog. So if you're on your back, you can kind of shake out your legs and arms, roll yourself to one side and come back to your table pose. Or your downward facing dog pose for a few breaths. Move around a little bit. From there, you want your knees to be about hip distance apart and your hips right above your knees. We're going to go for one last little baby. We're going to go for a puppy pose. You're going to walk your fingertips forward as you bring your forearms to the floor. Maybe you bring your forehead to the floor. You can always use a prop there as well. Some people even like to bring their chin to the floor and look forward as a puppy would do. See what feels good to you. Just feel that lovely freedom, that lovely stretch in the shoulders. And from there, you're going to slide yourself forward onto your belly. You're going to slide your hands forward. Interlace your fingers, except for your index fingers, which will point forward, and rest your forehead on the floor and surrender. Let go. How relaxed can you become right here? Surrender to what is. Let go of the what ifs, the what weres, the what could be's. So that you are ready as you begin to draw your hands in and press yourself back to rise up fresh and renewed. Tuck your toes under. We'll go for one last pyramid or downward dog, depending on what you want to call it today. Close your eyes. Move freely. When you're ready, bring your feet towards the front of the mat. Feel free to walk, step, do the bunny hop if you want. And then you're just going to bring yourself all the way down any way that works for you sitting on your mat. You'll roll yourself all the way down. Going back into our egg, now drawing our knees in towards the chest. Maybe rock gently from right to left. We'll finish with a twist, taking the legs over to the right in any variation of a reclined twist that works for your body. Crossing the legs, pinwheeling, one straight, one bent. I'm stacking because that just feels nice. It's not important what variation you take. Maybe looking over to the left, away from the knees. Hello. Rooster. You heard all the talk about babies, little animals. I know. You'll always be a baby to me. When you're ready, take your knees to the other side. Find your twist there. Again, surrender. Let this be exactly as it should be. When you're ready, you can bring the knees back to the center. If there's anything else that you need to do, any props that you need to become comfortable for Shavasana, please do not hesitate to grab them. Coming to the most comfortable resting space for your body today. As you relax here, close your eyes and soften your breath. You want your breath to be easy, smooth, natural. Feel your body softening here as well. Becoming at ease, becoming relaxed. stretching your arms overhead, reaching through the fingers and the toes, turning the head from side to side. As you're ready, making your way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. We're making your way to your most comfortable seat today. I hope that your body feels fresh and springy, and that you can feel that Easter egg, if you will, of stored energy, of potential inside of yourself. And we're just tapping into that, letting a little bit of it out to play. When you're ready, gather your hands in front of your heart. You can imagine you're holding that Easter egg if you want to, or any kind of egg. And we'll close with our deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. On